back to GMI. In this lesson, lesson 7 in our Advancing Guitar series, I'd like to discuss arpeggios. This time I'd like to talk about the different ways and techniques I would use to practice my arpeggios. I have learned in the past my scales and my arpeggios and then been a little bit stumped in what to do with them and what the next stage is. And this is a good stage between practicing your arpeggios and playing them in a solo, which is what we hope to look at further on in future lessons to come. So I would like to use our A major arpeggio that you will have perfected by now and have spot on from the last video. Just to recap, we'll play it once through for you, and then I'll start to talk a wee bit about what I will do when I'm practicing this at home. Okay, so the A major arpeggio was in second position, and we played A, C sharp, E, A, C sharp, E, and A, and back down. Now, the first thing I'd like to say is always have a goal, okay? It seems like the simplest thing, but it's really important to be clear in your goals when you're practicing. Otherwise, you'll just end up noodling for hours and hours like I end up doing. So, first of all, very simple, just play the arpeggio up. Okay, so we're going to start on A and we'll finish on A, and we'll talk about that a wee bit more in the video. But we're just going to keep it root to root. If you're still struggling with the arpeggio, you can still jump in here and do this. You can maybe just do it from our low A to our A here on the second fret. Just now, I'm going to try and we'll do our 2 octaves. Let me show you what to do here. So, the goal today is to do it 5 times in a row without a mistake. Okay, so here we go. Try it with me. 1, 2, 3, 4. I did 1 extra there just to keep you on your toes. Did you stay with me? Did you manage to get the 5? I hope so. If you didn't, try to stay there and have the willpower to really try and get there. If you need to slow it down, it's worth mentioning that it's handy to use a metronome here. So just slow it back, maybe 5-10 BPM on the metronome. That will help you, but always maintain that goal. If you did achieve that, we can move on and start. Let's try and do 5 descending from A to A. Okay, here we go. 1, 2, 3, 4. And again. Concentrating that pressure on the first finger. Okay, now if you were paying attention, you will have noticed that I made a slight error in one of those. It may have been a tiny small error, but really try and be hard on yourself and stop, go back to 0, and try 5 again. This way you're really getting it under your fingers so that you don't need to be thinking about the notes you're playing when you're in a musical situation. Also remember, keep that picking alternate. Okay. The next stage, when you've done them 5 times up, 5 times down, the obvious stage next would be to try and do them up and down without stopping. Okay? So something like this, I'll just do it a couple of times just now to show you. have the gap in between if you like, or if you feel like making it a little bit more challenging, you can try something like this. Okay, now as I said before, you can try and just do between two A's rather than the full thing. Or if you feel like you're a wee bit more advanced and you're finding this stuff easier, bump up that speed in the metronome. Whoop. And try it a little bit faster. So everyone can find their level in this exercise. Okay, don't forget to try it with all your other arpeggios as well. But certain skills like your rolling techniques and your alternate picking can cross, so don't feel like you're starting at zero again when you get to a new arpeggio. Couple more techniques I'd like you to try. The first one is, they're both pattern based. The first one is moving through the arpeggio in groups of 3. So I'll demonstrate first and then we can dive into it a little bit. Here we go. So what it's doing is it's extending the length of the arpeggio and it's creating this nice musical pattern, which you will hear in music, so keep your ears peeled in all kinds of music and you'll start to hear these ideas. I'll do that again, nice and slow so you can see. The formula I would use is up, 1, 2, 3, back 1, up 3 from there, back 1, up 3, back 1, up 3, back 1, up 3. So the notes would be A, C sharp, E, C sharp, E, A, E, A, C sharp, A, C sharp, E, C sharp, E, A. Coming back down, A, E, C sharp, E, C sharp, A, C sharp, A, E, C sharp, E, C sharp, A, C sharp, A, E, A. So we can add in that low E anytime as well, if you like. Okay, a little bit faster, here we go. 1, 2, 3, 4. Okay, so have fun with that. You can get up to some terrific speeds, I'm sure, and enjoy playing that over your A chords, which is something we're going to look at in the next lesson, how we can use some of these techniques to solo over Heading Home that we had been playing through in previous lessons. I'd like to leave you with one more thing before we go, and that is just a variation on that pattern. So instead of moving in 3s, we're going to move up 4 notes. So I'll show you here. We've got 3, 4. So we're coming up 4 notes. 1, 2, 3, 4. And then we're coming back to the next note in arpeggio, which is C sharp, up 4 from here. 1, 2, 3, 4. The next note in the arpeggio after C sharp is our E. 4 from here. 1, 2, 3, 4. Then our A. 1, 2, 3, 4. And that sounds a bit like this. Okay. Remember to practice that descending as well. And then of course, like before, we said we can practice ascending and descending. You can have a pause in between if you like, or if you're a total pro, you can tie it together with no mistakes and no gaps. So have fun with that, folks, and I hope to see you here at the GMI for another lesson soon.